Welcome back for another Waterfowl Wednesday, and today we are going to see if a $60 choke is worth buying. Today I've got the modified choke that came with my Benelli Supernova, and I also have a Kix High Flyer modified choke that I bought for duck hunting. What we're gonna do today is shoot some 3.5 inch double Bs. These are goose loads, but a lot of people use them for ducks. And I'm gonna pattern them out at 20, 30, and 40 yards and compare the results to see if this choke performs as well as this one and to see if this choke does what they say it does. The marketing behind the choke tubes that don't come with the gun, like the Kix High Flyer or the heavy metal choke tubes, is that they pattern better than these. And for some reason, I just have a hard time believing that. So I really want to test this and see if this choke patterns better than this one. So first things first, I got to make a target. And ideally, you want to have a 30-inch circle when you're patterning your gun. But Walmart didn't have big enough paper to do that. I realized that like right before I started recording this video. I'm like, this isn't 30 inches. So we're going to have a little bit smaller target, which is okay because ducks aren't 30 inches wide, and this is more for duck hunting purposes. So we're going to go ahead and kind of do this diagonally so we can get more paper coverage with this 30-inch circle. We're going to put a mark down here where 1 is, and then we're going to put a mark right here where 30 is. So we're really not missing all that much of the circle, just a little bit on the outside and just a tad bit on the bottom. So we're going to do this with, I bought 4 sheets of paper, and so I'm going to do that for the rest of these here. We've got the circle, but I need something to aim at, and I like to aim at mallards, bro. Give them some curls. Get that neck ring on there, eyeball, bill, give him some legs. And we'll make this the first banded duck I've shot, so we'll put a leg band on him. Perfect. Boom, that's a mallard, bro. We have a mallard, so now I'm gonna draw a honker, because I like shooting honkers. So we're going to do basically the same thing, but bigger. He's a honker. This is not super great, but you know, this is working. He's going to be a lesser. He's got a smaller body. Wing, legs, feet. I am very artistic, if you can't tell. And this one's gonna have a leg band too. And we'll make him double banded. And he's gonna have a neck band. Right there. Perfect. We've got the targets made. It's time to go out and test these chokes and see which one patterns the best. Let's just embrace the wind noise because it's not gonna go away. But I have the target set up way down there. I don't even know if you guys can see it. And then I've got a piece of twine that I marked off the distances. I've got 20, 30, and 40 yards marked off. I'm going to start off with shooting 20 and 30 yards for each choke because that's kind of the distance that I like to kill ducks, and most people kill ducks at 20 to 30 yards. 40 is a little bit out there in my own opinion, but if I'm able to like mark off points on a target and then shoot it again, I'll be able to do that because I only have 4 targets, so I can have 2 at 20 and 2 at 30, and then I can probably just mark off every pellet hole and then shoot it again for 40 yards. I'm going to shoot this Benelli choke first and then the Kix High Flyer. Everything's all set up. I got my target down here. I used my twine to figure out what was 20 yards. I had it marked off. And so now all we got to do is shoot the target. I got the Benelli modified choke that came with my gun in right now. So we're going to shoot a 3.5 inch double B at that target and see how it patterns. We're at 20 yards right here. Safety's off. Forgot how much those things kick. Okay. Let's go take a look at that pattern, change the target, and then shoot the Kicks high flyer. I'm gonna compare all the patterns at the end of this video. Well, my target fell over, so I gotta set that back up, but doesn't look too shabby. I'd say that's a dead duck. Now it's time for the Kicks choke. Kicks high flyer modified choke, 20 yards with 3.5 inch double B. Let's go take a look. Not too shabby. That's a dead duck right there. We're at the 30-yard mark, and we've got the Kicks high flyer choke in still. I'm not gonna change chokes just to shoot it again. So we're gonna start out with the Kicks and then go to the Benelli. 3.5 inch double B, 30 yards. Let's do it. Let's go take a look. Pattern's a little bit wider this time, but still got 3 pellets in the head. 30 yards, Benelli choke, 3.5 inch double B. Ready to rock and roll. Not too shabby. That's a dead duck. So what I think I'm going to do now is go through on each target, count the number of holes, mark them off, and then I'm going to do it again, because I learned when I was taking my biology classes before I changed my major to business that you need to repeat things to get a good result when you're doing the scientific method. So I guess that's kind of what we're doing here. So we're going to do another repetition, and it needs to be repeatable. So that's what we're doing. So let's count these and we'll shoot 4 more shells. Trial number 2, 30 yards, Benelli choke, 3.5 inch double B. Trial number 2, we got the Kicks high flyer in, shooting 30 yards, 3.5 inch double B. See how we do. Let's go ahead and tally these up. Trial number 2, Kicks high flyer, 20 yards. I think it's safe to say that that is a dead duck. Time for the last trial. We've got the Benelli modified choke. We're gonna be shooting 20 yards. Winchester Super X, 3.5 inch double B. Let's go count these up and then we'll compare the results. So, we've got our results here. This side is the Benelli choke and this side is the Kicks high flyer. The Benelli choke seemed to pattern pretty tight right in the middle, especially at 20 yards. In trial 1 we had 90 pellets inside the target, and then in trial 2 we had 88 inside the 30-inch circle. And there's plenty of pellets right here in this duck that I drew, so it's obviously a dead duck for sure. But it seems like this patterned pretty tight right in where I was aiming, right at the head of this duck, right in the middle of the circle. So the Benelli choke did a really good job of patterning out at 20 yards with the 3.5 inch double B. And it was pretty consistent. There was just 2 pellets missing on the second trial. And the Kicks seemed to pattern a little bit lower to the lower right, a little bit more. But there's still plenty of pellets inside this duck that I drew. But it seems like more of the pellets were over here. And comparing the two, granted there are 2 shot patterns on this, it seems like the Benelli choke patterned better at 20 yards compared to the Kicks. The Kicks high flyer seemed to be a little bit more spaced out, and the Benelli was pretty consistent right where I was aiming, and the Kicks was kind of a little bit sporadic. I know that some people say that the Super X made by Winchester, they don't pattern super great. It shouldn't matter because I was using the same shells and the same loads at the same distance with the same chokes for each target. Granted, the patterns are not going to be consistent. They're not going to be the same thing every single time because there's going to be human error and the shells could be something different about them. There's just little factors to consider. But it seems like the Benelli did a much better job of patterning at 20 yards. You guys be the judge. Leave it in the comments which one you think patterned better. 30 yards now. This is kind of the farthest shot that I really prefer to take at a duck, is 30 yards. Looking at these two patterns, the kicks did the same thing. It shot low and to the right. Meanwhile, the Benelli stayed true and was dead center right where I was aiming. But that could be my error. I could have moved the gun when I pulled the trigger. There's little things to consider. But from the test that I did, it seems like the Benelli choke patterned better than the kicks. That is my conclusion, because there's a lot of pellets right here on this duck that I drew, and right where I was aiming, there's a high concentration right here. And you know, you had a few pellets come outside on each of these, but they both stayed mainly inside the circle. There's a higher concentration of pellets on the Benelli where I was aiming. The kicks, it was low and to the right, and it wasn't as high of a concentration. So all things considered from these tests, would I conclude that a $60 choke is worth buying? I would have to say no, because the pattern test that I did showed that the Benelli choke stayed true, and it shot where I was aiming. This kicks choke shot low and to the right. Now, I know that these were only 20 and 30 yards, and you can go up to 40 and 50 and 60, but in real world applications for my own personal life, I wanted to know if this choke was worth me buying it. And for shooting 20 and 30 yards between that range at ducks, I would have to say that the Benelli choke did a much better job of patterning than this kicks did. One of the main reasons why I bought this choke was because I'm around water a lot, and my choke tube could potentially get rusted into my gun if I forget to take it out and change it or whatever, because I did that once with my Mossberg, and I was like, I don't want this to happen again. I'm gonna get something just in case my choke tube gets stuck. Now, I know there's a bunch of different other waterfowl loads to use and a bunch of other things that you can make different to make this choke pattern a little bit better. But I had these 3.5 inch double Bs, and that's what I shoot at geese. So I wanted to take that and see what this was gonna do on a pattern. So have I shot ducks with this? Yes, I've shot like every duck this season with this choke in my gun. Have I shot ducks with that Benelli modified choke in? Yeah, I did that last season. So either way, you're gonna kill birds, and patterns are one thing to think about. It's just a technicality. But if you actually go out there and you know how to lead a duck and you know how to shoot, you're gonna kill ducks regardless. A choke like this isn't gonna make you a better shot. It's not gonna make you kill more birds. In my own personal opinion, I think that the chokes that come with the gun are just as good as this. And in my test today, it proved that it was better. So these extended chokes do have a couple of advantages, and that is that if they do get stuck in your gun for some reason, you can get vice grips and get it out of the barrel. And I guess the vent holes in the sides do something with the gas, with the wad, it might shoot faster. But as far as patterns go, my tests show that the Benelli choke that came with the gun patterned tighter inside the 20 and 30 yard circles. There you have it. I'd say that a $60 choke isn't necessarily worth buying just from the tests that I've done. This isn't gonna make you kill more ducks, and it's not gonna make you a better shot. Just practice is gonna make you do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you have not already. Leave me a thumbs up. I post Waterfowl Wednesdays every single Wednesday, and I talk about a waterfowl hunting topic. You can follow me on my social media. I'm pretty active on all of them, and if you need to get in contact with me, that is the best way to do it. So follow me on there. It's somewhere on the screen somewhere. In the top right corner of your screen, there's like a little circle with an eye. If you click on that, you can go to the website and you can pick up a hat like this one right here, MallyWackerOutfitters. We got Mallard's Bro t-shirts. If you want to pick one of those up, go check it out. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned, because next week we're going to do another Waterfowl Wednesday like usual. I'll catch you on the next one.